All right, we're live. We had of course, never fails. Technology, if you don't do it the same way every time, will just smack you right upside the head. So I went live about 5 minutes ago, and I didn't have everything right. So I knew I should have did it this way, but
It wasn't all your fault, buddy.
I could not figure it out for the life of me. So, Pete, lot of stuff going on, man. And I just called you up and said, because we think along the same wavelength here. And are you as tired of hearing about this rear bumper as me?
It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I can't believe. It's got me to the point. Like, if I could reach through like Facebook and grab guys and drag them into my shop and like, you want to understand what's going on? Do you understand? Maybe you don't understand. Maybe you didn't graduate. You didn't take geometry in high school. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I mean, geez, I wasn't long ago. I sat in a youth driver's car as a passenger, and I was riding in a bone stock Crown Vic, and guess what was happening? One of the little bit more advanced drivers had a pitched rear bumper, and guess where I ended up? I was up on his trunk. I wasn't driving. The girl in the driver's seat was driving. Bumpers have been pitched on Crown Vics for years, and old iron and everything. I can't believe nobody can say. Everybody says, "Well, it's different. It's a ramp bumper." They're all ramp bumpers at the end of the day. You tell me one bumper, and everybody's right. It's simple. It's the promoter's fault that cars are going under cars because we have rules and we all follow them, and we all have bumper height rules. So at the end of the day, how can nobody see it's the driver's fault? He built the car. He did this. He did that. No, we followed the rules. So now the promoters are having a big hissy. But I don't understand why they didn't have a big hissy about a pointy bumper that don't even resemble a replica bumper. And it's ripping.
We can't get into that, Pete. That is
I don't care.
that's
I'm
a
friends with
touchy
Gage.
subject.
I'm friends with Gage. And we're all in the same boat. Everybody's building all kinds of weird, wacky bumpers. But it's on the front of a car. Nobody seems to have a problem with it. You put something on the back of a car, holy God. You know, I can see, I don't know how many shows I ran this year. I did roll one guy over, and it was accidentally because I didn't even know he was behind me. And that's the honest God's truth. The other guy I hit in the front, and he kind of did an endo and landed on his side. But I never tried to roll anybody over. You can watch a lot of my videos. I'll go under them. If I got them picked up, I'll take them places, but I'll pull back out from under them if I think they're going to go over them. Now, I'm not here to hurt nobody, absolutely nobody. But the idea of the game is it's a gladiator sport. And so the pointy bumper come out to rip radiators out of cars to beat your competition. So when guys started ramping factory Ford rear bumpers and setting cars low, everybody thought, oh, they're doing that so it rolls easier. No, 90% of the time they're doing that so they can rip the other guy's front wheels off because everybody's going smaller wheel, smaller wheel, smaller wheel. So let's get under there, and we don't have to worry so much about the wheels. We'll get the A-arms, the spindles. You know, it's just mind-boggling that the people are talking.
Pete,
yeah,
where's the ramp bumper on that car?
Oh, there wasn't one.
Oh, there wasn't one. Imagine that. What was that car designed to do?
That was to get under people and break their crap.
Imagine that. So you're telling me you beat the rule there too?
Yeah, it was smash a show, and the bumper, they didn't give you a bumper height, like thickness, 5 inches like you do, or 8 inches like most, whatever. And the quarter panel had to be 6 inches above the top of the bumper. So you put a railroad onto it and you bring your quarters down.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Now, so I guess the crazy thing that I can't wrap my head around. I can't wrap my head around it because people are saying they want to outlaw pointies. For what reason? Why are they saying that?
Pointies on the front of the cars.
Oh, sorry. Ramp bumpers on the back.
Here's the deal. Anybody that wants to outlaw one, I don't see why they would outlaw one. I watch Blizzard Bash, I watch team shows, I watch the big national shows. And them bumpers are there, and I don't hear nobody complaining, nobody carrying on. So your county fair promoters, your not big show promoters, or whatever you want to call the guys that are having this crisis with these bumpers, because that's who it seems like's having the crisis. Blizzard Bash don't have it, Gold Rush don't have the crisis. They don't have crisis with these bumpers. So I don't know. King of Ohio, I don't think has crisis with these bumpers. Big shows, county, like smaller shows, whatever. There's classes for everybody. We got 30 classes at every damn derby we go to anymore. Well, I believe in my heart, factory bumpers belong on the lesser classes. But when you step up into that next class, these so-called ramp bumpers, tilted bumpers, pointies, hard pointies on the front, that's the class you're playing at. You sign up for that before you even go there. I don't see where a promoter should be trying. If he's running a $10,000 or a $15,000 super stock show, I seen them bumpers at the Bash last year, in the team events. I didn't see anything. I seen a lot of steering ripped off of cars. But I don't know. Was there many rollovers, Dustin, at Bash last year in the super stocks?
I can't remember one. And now look, it's a stretch. I don't think there's one. I would like to look back, but if there was one, there was one.
Right, and I know for a fact there was 2, possibly 3 cars, because they're friends of mine that ran that show, that were built identical in the back to my cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they were under guys all night long, ripping steering off, taking competition out. I think that's what this sport's about. It's demolition derby. It's destruction.
Really about competition, Pete? Is it really?
Well, to me it is. I'm in the shop. I was in the shop last night till 1:45, working on a set of spindles that I'm designing and building for my car. Like, I don't quit. Frankie, he says that, Pete, your wheelbarrow is always going to be better than the next guy's wheelbarrow. Well, right. I'm not sitting on the couch tonight. I'm not sitting in a bar room tonight. I'm in my shop where I love to be. I enjoy it. It's my passion. I will not change the way I'm doing things. Promoters can write rules all day long. Were they going to cover all the bases? Absolutely not. You couldn't have a rule book big enough for the creativity of the builders today, not the builders of 15 years ago, the builders today. I have changed so much from 15 years ago to today because I'm seeing other guys doing the same thing. Well, if you want to keep up with times, you better get your head out of your butt and you better start thinking out of the box, because if not, you're going to get run over.
Why are there more people saying that? Like, why is it always complaining? It's always complaining. The first thing that happens is complaints.
It's because listen, you think about it. The guy that screams the loudest always gets his way. You get a whiny kid in your class, you're going to give him whatever he wants to shut him up.
I guess. I mean, I had this conversation the other day with inspection, because a lot of people talk about inspection and fair cars. My job as an inspector is to enforce the rules, not
Correct.
To make sure the cars are equal. That's it.
Right.
It's not my job to make sure the cars are equal. It's to enforce the rules. That's it. Pete, how many times have you called me in the past month about rules? Like, a lot, right?
A lot, yeah. Because I don't like to get there and have to do a lot of work on my car. You're offering 2 fix-it plates. If I can go through without 5 infractions, guess what? I'm going to ring his ear off to make sure I'm in the guidelines so I get my fix-it plates, because I think I need them.
Well, what's the number one thing that I do before I answer anything that you ask?
Well, let's look at the rules, Pete. Let's look at the rules. Exactly what you say to me. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. The dude, he's straight up. He says, well, let's look at the rules. Let's see what it says. And he reads it, and I read it, and sometimes I'm out of bounds. Sometimes I'm not, and that makes the difference right there. Now, I had a promoter, not a promoter, I had tech that I was dealing with 2 years ago. Yeah. I didn't call much. So when I get to the tech line, his exact words out of his mouth is, well, you maybe should call more. Oh, geez. Okay. So then the following year, we made up, we kissed, we hugged, whatever. I got a chance to run their show, and I won it. And then I turned around and I wanted to come back in the fall for their big show, because it's a big show. I mean, they're representing as a big national level show. And so little things went on here, there, bullshit, this bullshit, that bullshit. And it was like, well, you call too much. Well, you told me I don't call enough. Well, now you call too much. So now I'm bothering you. You got more important things to do. I understand. It's getting to be bullshit. I'm getting tired of it. I want to run national level shows. Well, if you're presenting your show as a national level show, well, you better put people in place that can handle national level crap, because that's what you're going to get. You're going to get quality builders, quality drivers, and they're going to twist your brains like you've never been twisted. And if you can't sit back and listen to what that driver or that builder is telling you, you are in the wrong place. You need to be demoted and somebody that has better qualifications put in your place. That's all there is to it. I can't stand it. I see it way too much, and I get it. It costs a lot of money for a promoter to hire somebody that's educated enough to that level of them builds. It's just, and they can't, a lot of them, they don't want to pay it because they think
that takes us down a whole nother rabbit hole. I mean, look, we're just in a weird spot where a lot of these shows are just getting by. So it's hard to take the inspectors are behind the drivers is what's happening. The inspectors and the shows are behind the drivers. And that's how you get to that point. Not necessarily the fault of any promoter. I don't think it's just, God, we're in such a weird place, with that. But you're right. I mean, Pete, answering a question to the rules is not very hard. But
no, not if you're looking at it.
Our drivers, they have to understand that when you pull into an inspection, I said this the other day to someone, if I pull into inspection with a 7 car and you bring a 9.5 car, my car can be more illegal and have more rules broke than your car. It's as simple as that. It can. Just because the quality of craftsmanship is not the same does not mean that my car is more to the rules or should get any more advantage than your car because you're a little bit crisper with your work.
Right.
I mean, we got to have these conversations publicly like this because I don't think people understand it on that level. That's the level that we are trying to go to, that you guys are pushing it to and that we got to catch up to.
Oh, I agree 100%. So, I would love to run Blizzard Bash again. I really would. But I've had some problems at Blizzard Bash when Sam Williams had it. I got treated not very nicely, disrespected more so than anything else. Not so much about the car build, but it was just the way things were done. And it wasn't Sam directly. It was one of his techs. But so I have a hard time, when somebody pisses in your Cheerios, it just, you're not going to eat them, and I'd like to go to Blizzard Bash with Tim. Me and Tim Jr. has talked a lot. They're great guys. They are totally great dudes. And, I probably will give them a chance again, but after the last time, the rigmarole and the roundy rounds we went and the problems I had with them, I said I would never run there again. But, sometimes I guess you got to sweep your your differences under the carpet and start over and give somebody a second chance. I had the same problem with TJ, not directly TJ, but, I had an issue with a car. I loaded myself. They didn't load me. We talked about it. We wiped it under the carpet, and I came back and I ran No Mercy 3. But God, there's these national level shows out there I'd love to go to, but because we're not teching the cars, we are teching the driver. That's the biggest problem. I'll watch somebody go, or even worse. What's worse, Dustin, is when I'm in a different state, okay, and I roll through tech, and I'm from a different state, but the guy ahead of me was from that state or whatever. I can see visually what's going on with his car. I'm not no dummy. I know how to build cars. And he rolls through. He's got a couple little paint marks here and there, nothing. I roll through. That guy's got the same shit I got. And guess what? I'm cutting it. It's not right. We need to take this bias bullshit out of the tech line. And I've seen it. I've seen it this year. I've seen it last year. Like 2023, 22, 24, there should be, at that level, there should be no bias shit going on.
Well, how do you separate yourself, Pete? Like it's almost like we need a third party to have oversight. And
that's
not only for what you're saying, but for like my protection too, because there's plenty of times where people will say, oh, you let shit get by or this and that. And they don't even know the rules. They don't even know what they're talking about.
Right.
I mean,
it was just like you look at me in Vegas. I went to Las Vegas, 30 some hours from home. And I got spring bucket spacers, which was an old thing here in the East for years. And God, they were having a canary as shit fit up and down, but the rule said you could have a spacer in the spring pocket. They didn't say what kind, what size, what this, what that, but the rule said it. So I followed the rule and I did it. Well, there was so many people having troubles and problems and crying and carrying on about it, but I wasn't out of line because the rule said I was allowed to have it. But it was on, you had guys blowing up on Facebook. This is why he won. No, I just read the rule and I did what I needed to do. And it just, when I read the rules, and I like you said, I call you all the time. Either I'm getting told no or I'm getting told yes. Because when I get there, a lot of this stuff I'm asking, I can't change it while I'm there. So we get it ironed out before the show even comes. And it's going to be easier for me and the head tech, and if it's easy. But originally we started these rear bumpers. It's easy, guys. Whiners, complainers, crybabies, promoters, techs, anybody that has problems with this bumper, eliminate it in your lesser classes, keep it in your higher classes. Just like everybody says, stay in your lane. So the guys that don't have that, you want to run against that level. Well, that's that level. You want 20-inch rear bumper height, 20-inch front bumper height. Well, that's the old school classes we bring back. Or this is we're in 2023. This is the modern day builds that we're playing with. You see it at all the national big level shows. Yeah, it's going to touch your county fairs. It's going to come see you. It's going to whoop your ass. Don't cry about it. Suck your car down a little lower and get under that guy and do something about it. I mean, because they're not checking your stuff. I mean, we know how county fairs are. You can get away with murder there. Don't be picking on the guys that are at the top because they work so goddamn hard to get there, and you didn't. If you didn't work that hard to get there, running your mouth is definitely not going to get you there. Put your hands and your brain in gear and go to work in your shop and build your car and learn how to drive it. Like, I'm not afraid if a guy's got a ramp bumper on the back of his car. It don't bother me a bit. Just stay away from it. Put yourself in better positions. Get his front wheels before he gets yours. It's a chess game. It don't matter what the guy's got on the front or the back of his car. No matter what wheel or tire he's got on. There's a variance of everything. It's the classes that should allow that stuff and the classes that don't allow that stuff. So if you're having an issue with it, stay in the classes that don't have it. The classes that do have it, that's the guys that want it. Let them play with it and let them have fun.
And you got to use logic when writing these rules and enforcing these rules. You can't sit here and say the reason why we are not allowing these ramp bumpers is because of safety, and then disregard, because here's what they're saying, right? This is what's being said. We don't want the rear bumper because it increases rollovers. Well, Pete, what we know in the sport of demolition derby is that rollovers are prevalent. They happen all the time, frequently. Uncontrolled, it doesn't matter. A front bumper could be too high, could all kinds of circumstances.
I've seen more rollovers in stock classes than I have seen in mod classes.
Exactly. Okay. When a guy's bent and he hits somebody in the doors, know damn well he's got leverage on the car. And if he hits them fast enough, he's going to roll over the car or tilt the car up at least, right?
I was at Freedom Hall in the stocker class watching Chuck Roby and Daryl Monroe. One went down the track about 30, hit a guy, put him on his lid. The other one come down right alongside him, hit the other guy, and put him on his lid. And they both did it with flat front bumpers. It's just, that's how it works.
Exactly. So we have this problem of rollovers, right? And that's why we're eliminating this rear bumper.
Right.
Okay. Well, if we have a problem with rollovers, which I totally agree, why don't we make, here's something that we can all get on the same page. Why don't we make mandatory rollover bars in all classes? All classes. We know it's an issue. We know it can happen. If you have a mandatory rollover bar, if the promoters really want to work together, 2x2 is all you need. We did it at our show 3 years ago. 3 years in every single class. We've had no issues. Right. Nobody has. There's been some complaints here and there, but honestly, you're competing at our level, right? The King of Ohio is a big show. If you can't afford $100 or $150 in square tubing, for a door plate and a rollover bar, you should not be here. That's simple. I don't think that's mean. That's not mean. That's not saying, hey, we don't want you here. That's saying at this level, this is the rules that you must abide by to get. And we got to go further than that, Pete. We got to start looking at braided fuel lines. We've got to start looking at fire jackets. We got to start looking at this stuff when we're talking about the higher caliber of drivers. What frustrates me is they'll say that rollover bumper, but then they won't address a stock class. The likelihood of getting rolled over is almost the same in each class. Why would we not address both classes?
Well, for one, I watch stock classes. I watch all the classes. I find the guys that are driving the higher end classes are a little wiser about how they're taking their hits and what they're doing. If I wanted to, I could probably roll 10 cars a night, but I don't. I'm not there to do that. But you look at the stock classes, a lot of these guys, and nothing against them, because, that's how I got into it. Let's just go have a little fun. Great for them. And I'm glad they're there. I'm glad their family's there. I'm happy for them. They're enjoying their life, because life's too short anyways. Go out there and smash cars and have fun. There's classes for everybody, but there's no reason for anybody across this country to bitch about demolition derby. That's what's holding us back. The negatives and negative. Nobody wants to listen to that. We got to positive it up so we can go somewhere. I know. What do you think? You're a stock driver and it can't go somewhere? You're crazy, because everybody wants to see them cars bend. There's going to be levels for everybody. And if everybody works together, things will come together. I believe it could happen. But like everybody says, it's not going to happen, because we got too many keyboard jockeys. We got too many people complaining, too many people whining. That's, I know it's this new age. Everybody's got to get a trophy. Everybody's got to get this bullshit. Get your ass off. Like I said, get your lazy ass off the fucking couch and go to work. Excuse my French, but get it. If you don't get it, nobody's going to give it to you. It's not going to happen. You know, okay, Pete Hanson's coming to your derby. Yeah, I'm coming there to take your money if I can. You know what? I go to Ohio. I never won a derby in Ohio. You want to know why? Because guys come after me and they take care of me. 5, 6 of them. Is it fair? Absolutely not. Do I get pissed? Yeah. Do I still keep going back? Yeah, because there's going to be a time that I can hold that checkered flag in Ohio. That's on my bucket list. I'm not just going to give up and walk away. I'm not a quitter. You know, I don't care what guys got on their cars. I don't care if a guy's plated from bumper to bumper. I still think I can outdrive them.
Because they still got 4 wheels, Pete, right? I mean, they still got wheels. I mean,
it don't matter.
I'm so here's an argument. I hear this all the time. I said this before we got on here. I am so tired of hearing about the county fair hero who can outdrive every single person in the entire country. But Derbian they can't afford the Derby at this level. I'm here to tell you right now that I'm going to call that guy Bigfoot. And if Bigfoot exists, I have a free entry for Bigfoot, okay, to come try to win $50,000. And my only stipulation is it's free, okay? My only stipulation is you're going to sign a contract that if you do not win the show, because you're so-called the best driver of the history, okay, you're Bigfoot, you pay me $1,600. I think it's a fair offer. The entry is $800. You're the best driver that's ever graced the face of the earth. You should be able to win the show with flying colors. Are you tired of hearing this like I am? I'm so tired of hearing how good people are that will never compete against somebody else.
Right. Dustin, can you turn your mic up a little bit, buddy?
You can't hear me?
You were good, and then you got real quiet, and I don't know what went on.
What? Good now?
You sound a little better, I guess. Maybe it's just me. Who knows? But I could hear you, but it was quiet.
There. Is that better?
Yeah, that's not so bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. I think
I'll try to talk more into the mic. But, you know, Pete, I'm so tired of hearing about this guy that is just this mythical creature. Like, I know guys can drive, but, man, come show it. Come show it on the big stage. There's one format in the entire nation that makes you beat cars. If you're as bad a dude as what you think you are, come prove it.
Right. I go to a lot of county fairs, and I see a lot of top level drivers that don't ever try to compete at that level. And I get it. So 2012, I said to my wife, I'm done derbying. I won everything I could win. You know, I didn't really know much about this national level, this higher level. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have none of that. I didn't have a computer really. And so I beat this guy, beat that guy, beat this guy, travel 2.5 hours here, go here, 2.5 hours there, win here, win there. I won everything that I could possibly win around our area within 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. And it just got boring. It's like, I have no reason to do this anymore because I have no challenge no more. So in 2012, I did realize there was bigger and better derbies. And I said to my wife, I said, you know, I think I'm going to give it up. I says, to go to this next level is going to cost a lot of money. And it don't seem like it's smart to waste that kind of money. And she goes, hon, you work 7 days a week. You work your ass off all the time. She goes, you got the money. Go enjoy yourself. Do what you love to do. Give it a try. Well, here I am. How many years later? 13 years later, right? Probably well over $600,000-$700,000 in them couple years between cars, parts, braking parts, transmissions, motors, rear ends, you name it. And it's endless. I mean, we're building now, and I'm buying stuff that, you know, Who buys a nut that's $70? A nut. And you need 8 of them in a car. Hello? Me, because I'm dumb. But I'm not going underbuilt. You know, that's the level. When you come to this level, and it's nobody's fault but the fans, because they hold me at this level. And when somebody holds somebody at a higher level, you feel like you can't fail them. You got to be there for them. You got to perform to your best abilities. You got to try to be the best. You know, I can't find myself jumping in a bone stock car and just going having fun. I tried it once. Poor Chop built me a car, and I went down there and I did some hits, and the battery come loose and went flying in the back seat. And I'm like, man, yeah, it was fun, but that sucked. You know, I like to be the bully on the track if I can.
It's always fun being the big fish in the small pond. It's awesome. It's great. You strut by everybody. Everybody looks at you like, you know, you're just the king of the mountain. But I mean, look, man, come swim over to this pond where there's even bigger fish possibly, and everybody wants to see this go down. I mean, we are the gladiators of modern day. Like, there's the UFC, and then there's us with cars.
Yeah.
If we can get to that point and understand the level of entertainment that we bring, we say, hey, look, Pete, like, no, for example, last year at Iron City, I knew you were going to Iron City. I won Iron City the year before. You came to Iron City for one reason, to win.
Yeah, and I said, I'll do everything in my power so you don't win.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I made one mistake, and I should have did this prior to the show. But the sport wasn't there yet. I was going to do exactly what I did the year before to Clark's and say Pete Hanson's not winning this Derby.
Right.
Like, and that's it. But our sport wasn't there yet. If you wanted to do that tomorrow, we could do it if people wanted to see it. You know what I'm saying? But I think they do, but our sport isn't there to cover it. So it's like like kind of like the year before. I mean, I did it the year before. No one even talked about it. I mean, I went there 2-on-1 and legit said, all right, 2-on-1, I guarantee you guys can't beat me.
Right.
And it didn't happen. It took 10 minutes.
Right.
It took 10 minutes and then it was over. If that, our sport should cover those types of things. We could have had the same thing with you. You may have just absolutely whooped me that night because we never really like interacted, and we were kind of just real close at times.
Right.
You could have shown me that there was a different level that night. Hey, bud, you might have won last year, but there's levels to this.
When you come to my playground, it might be a little different. Or when I go to your playground, it might be a little different.
Yeah, you know, or I could have maybe said, hey, Pete, I think I'm on that level. I'm knocking on that door, you know?
Right.
And that would have been fun to do that. And it would have been disappointing to go with your tail tucked between your legs.
Listen, I've been in your position a lot of times in a lot of derbies. When you got multiple guys coming after you, you're just screwed. Sometimes you can come out of it shining, but most of the time, you're out, duck out, you're screwed. You know, you're not going to win that derby. I mean, you gave it your all, but you're done. It's happened multiple times to me, especially in Ohio. Ohio's the worst for me. You know, I can go every state just about, but not Ohio. Ohio, it happens. But hey, I give kudos to them guys because they're not afraid to come after it.
No,
the only thing is they come after it not by themselves. You know, they come with buddies, they come with friends, they don't just play Russian roulette with one bullet in their gun. You know, they put multiple bullets in their gun.
The difference is most people, and this is why we had to run the format in Ohio, Pete, is because if we paid big money and did not run the format, it would never change.
No.
It would never change. The same names would be at the top of that list because those
guys.
Look
at the batch. Look at the batch. It went to hell because the same guys kept winning it year after year after year after year. And it was nobody's fault but the other drivers because nobody would stick together and do what they needed to do to make a change.
Yeah, it's not those guys' fault at all.
No,
You cannot hate. I saw this, and I wanted to have this podcast like a couple weeks ago because everyone knows who we're talking about. So I saw these guys go over to Turkey Derby. Okay.
Yes.
And Bronze go over to Turkey Derby, and it's literally freaking 14 on 4, right?
Yeah.
It's 14 on 4. And I swear that there was 13 of those guys that were so terrified to hit a bronze. Like I've never seen 13 guys so terrified to hit a black wagon in my entire life.
Why? I don't know.
And then it gets down to it, and everyone complains because it's 4 or 5 bronze and 1 car. You guys had the numbers. You guys just didn't have the kahunas.
That's all it is.
That's all it was.
Hey, we went to your show. We went to your show, and everybody knew what the feature was. We knew who was together over there. We were together over here, and it got busy. It got busy fast, and I had a faulty part break on my car. It is what it is. But, them guys they had better car. They had better luck, let's say. I don't think they had better cars by no means because my car is still straight as an arrow. They just had better luck. I had the same center link as everybody else, but mine broke. But I didn't even get hit. Well, mine wasn't the same. Mine was an aftermarket. It was a bought and right from Advanced Auto, thinking, oh, shit, I can just buy one now. I don't have to use an original. Well, don't make that mistake. Go get the original one off the car and run it, the factory one, and hope somebody didn't change it from Advanced Auto or something because it's probably going to be a piece of junk.
That and that's funny though, but no one talks about that. Like you had hold on just a second.
Yep. What am I doing with my tray?
All right, so yeah, nobody talks about that, man. It's like just that's why we had to adopt the format, though. If we were going to have, hold on just a second, Pete. Keep them entertained for 2 minutes. What?
Right.
Less 30
I'm walking
seconds.
around the shop trying to look for my drink, and it's right alongside me. But I just what I like about I'm not sticking up for Dustin by no means. He's just another promoter. He's just another guy trying to do the best he can for our sport. I have nothing against. I'm friends with all the promoters for the most part, but it's just the way their business is operated. I have a hard time sometimes with the guys they got in charge. That maybe they haven't built a car to that level. And they hit that when it rolls in and goes up on the lift, they get, holy God! They almost feel like, to me, it almost feels like they get insulted or something. But it's part of the rule, and I don't get where people get all torqued up about it. Just like the bumpers, guys. Let's look at the bumpers on the front of the cars. Let's be honest. The front bumper's designed to rip your radiator out. Well, most guys at the higher levels got $15,000+ in their engines, but everybody seemed to be all right with them bumpers. I tried to stay away from them for the longest time because I really don't like them. But last year I went and I bought 4. The cheapest one is $1,600, and the most expensive one was $1,800. So you take that into consideration, how much money a derby guy's got to spend to keep up in his game, just in bumpers. You look at Kenny Cascadney, he just designed a new bumper. Everybody keeps designing bumpers. There's another guy I seen the other day that's building a new bumper. Why are we making all these new bumpers? What are they there to do? What are they there to... there's got to be a reason why they redesigned it. We're redesigning the derby world every day. There's a group of us out there that just keep changing it and changing it and changing it. Yeah, good luck keeping up with us because we're just ahead of the game. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't hate anybody by no means anywhere at any given time. I'm friends with just about everybody. Anybody wants to know anything, they call me. I answer messages all the time, almost every other day. I got somebody asking me about this or that or this or that. You know, you come to my pit area, I'll talk to you. You ask me questions, I'll show you my car. I'll show you why I did it. I don't hide anything. You know, I'm not one of them guys. But guys, quit bitching about what we're doing and worry about what you're doing. If you want to come play with us, it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you a lot of time away from your family, away from your loved ones. Well, if you don't want to do that, don't complain about it on the internet. Go to a lesser class where you can build your car in 2-3 weeks and go compete there. Don't come play with us and complain. You make yourself look like an idiot. That's all there is to it. You know, I don't complain. I've had a lot of bad deals and a lot of raw deals throughout the years, and you don't see me getting out there and blasting them. I'd like to talk about it tonight, but I'm not gonna. I'm a better man than that. I would love to blow people up on here, but I'm not gonna do it. Today been a day because I had a bad day today. I promise you, and I'd love to blow some people up and really bring some light to the derby world about what's going on, but I don't need to. It's not me. I'm going to pick and choose where I think good places are to run this year coming up, 2024. You'll probably see me in Utah. You'll definitely see me at the King of Ohio. I don't know where else you're going to see me, to be honest with you. I'm Frankie guy. He's been real fair, real nice, real good to me. You'll probably see me floating. I love the little Stoneboro Fair. It's just a great little area, a great place to be. It's more family oriented. We have a lot of fun there. I mean, more there for enjoyment than the Derby, but the Derby just happens to be there and it's fun. But it's just guys, promoters, anybody, get off your horses and put everything in place where it needs to be. Don't worry about what this guy's doing on his car. 10 guys said they didn't like that bumper, but 10 guys are running. The other 10 guys are running that bumper. What do we do? No, this class allows them. That's all we're going to do. Don't listen to the babies. Let them go to the lesser class. Let the better, I wouldn't say better guys, because they're all good drivers. The guys that are willing to perform at that level, let them have what they want and let them go derby because they're not afraid of it. It's not going to give you any more cars if you take that bumper away. Changing your rules is the worst thing you can ever do. Build a set of rules, leave them for 5 years, let your drivers adapt to them. Bo Lockwood did it. He brought his drivers up to that level, and it made all his drivers better drivers. It's proven. He did it. Maybe my cars, I'm a little bit better with the back of my car. You look at the old veteran drivers. We never drove forward. We always drove backwards for years. You look at Chad Markley with the back of a wagon. The man's deadly because he knows how to back up. I'm ripping guys' wheels off all the time because I know how to back up. I spent some time at Smith Metalworks at their school, their youth program. Casey Smith spent 90% of the time with them kids backing up. I'll guarantee you 90% of the people that's on here complaining and bitching can't back up. They're that generation where they walked into hard protector cars, pressured cars, kicker cars, that they went forward all night. Learn how to back up. It makes a difference if you can use both ends of the car right.
No one ever talks about that, Pete. Like, no one brings that up. Like, hey, man, part of the reason why you run a pointy on the back of your bumper, most of the reason is, well, you've got other stuff going on, but I'm not going to tell your business out here. It's legal, right. It's all legal stuff. But part of the reason is because you want to run that way. That's the way you want to run, and you know you're going to eliminate your competition by breaking steering with the way your car's set up. Your whole mentality going into a derby is that.
It's the only way with the level of cars that I compete against. They're hard cars. Everybody's got hard cars. They're not, most of them don't really bend because of the what you've done and the geometry you've done and the homework you've done, and they're not cheated. And there ain't one of them. I got 2 cars here. I'll sell somebody tomorrow. They're going to go up for sale. You can take them home. I know a group of guys that bought one of my cars because they got run over by me, and they thought I cheated it. And they took it, bought it, chopped it up in 100 pieces, and could find nothing in it because there was nothing in it. It's just geometry and what we do. There's been a lot of time and a lot of effort put into these builds, and we just change things.
It's also the shots that you take. Like,
oh yeah,
like no one ever talks about that. Like every shot that you take is calculated. You're never hitting because I've ran these bumpers. I know that if I was to hit you ass to ass and we were square, we would both bend right at the body bolt because we're hitting solid, right?
Yeah.
Like I guarantee you our frames would tweak right there. They're going to, especially at a show that actually inspected cars, because you're not going to get away with a lot, right? So
no,
like that's what's going to happen. But if I watch you at Iron City last year, you literally don't hit anything hard. Like no cars. I mean, when I say anything hard, I mean like no hard spots. Like you don't hit frame to frame. You don't hit frame to cage. You hit only wheels. That's it.
I don't go out there and drive like a ladle head.
No one talks about this. Oh, well, that car's still straight at the end of the night. Well, I can count on one hand how many times he actually used it on something other than a wheel. No wonder why it's straight. Like,
right.
It does matter. It does matter.
I never rolled nobody over at Iron City, but I was under a lot of people.
Yeah, and there's reasons to that. There's the way you have it set up. I had my car set up the same way because I had to beat you. I needed to get under you to carry you.
Yes.
That's it. That was it. That was the whole goal. So, yeah, people just don't. That's what they need to be doing. They need to be studying the film. How much film do you watch, Pete?
Well, right there's the big screen TV, and most of the time when I'm in the shop, I'm not just watching. I don't just watch myself. I watch derbies all over the country, right down to the county fairs, because you know what? I know them county fair guys are showing up at some of these bigger shows, and I study them, and I learn how they drive. I know I got a big challenge coming up soon, and I've been studying them 2 guys like you have no idea. I'm learning them 2 guys. And guess what? Hope they're doing the same thing.
Exactly. This is the game inside the game. This is when the sport becomes more than just a sport. Like if we can, talk about these things, right, and expose the audience to what actually goes on behind the scenes here and all the work and the skill that it takes, I'm telling you, dude, this sport can explode when they explain that. I had I want to show, this is actually the check's hanging on the wall back there, but it was like I don't know, it was a $5,000 show 10 years ago. And that was a big show. It was $5,000 10 years ago was a pretty big show. And I remember somebody saying, "Hey man, you haven't ran a lot of derbies like that. How did you win that? How did you win it?" It's like, I've been in 10,000 derbies at this point. Well, how do you mean? I literally sit there and visualize on the TV of running a derby. I'll pick a car. I'll just pick the motion, right? Of like, this is what I would do in this situation. You just are mentally there, I didn't need to be in 100 cars or build 100 cars to have 100 cars worth of experience. Does that make sense?
And what helps a lot of guys is if you have an older derby person that you've been around that you can reference off of and ask some questions, or maybe you grew up bouncing down to the neighbor's shop and who knows if it was, Sean Allen, or if it was Trace Braun, or if it was Trent Braun, or, who knows, that little kid that used to walk down the road and hang out at their shop, and what they gathered, and I've helped a ton of people to bring their level up, and I feel good about it. I do, my garage has been open multiple times to different people, and we've taken them from being that guy that's at the bottom of the list to bringing home checks and trophies. But it's a lot of it was wiring, fuel place, the way you run your fuel lines, batteries, just the basics that they just didn't understand. And I turned them into winners because I had so many years of experience dealing with the stuff that didn't work.
Do you think that is the issue right there? Do you think that we are not lending that olive branch enough to these guys, and that's why they're complaining so much? Because if it is, anyone's free to come to my house at any time.
Yeah, I mean, I live so damn far away from everybody and anybody. I live in the middle of nowhere. I mean, everybody's got to. I mean, if they're coming here, they're going to be driving a long ways. But I mean, I have a young gentleman that come down twice now, last year and this year, and I think it's more for the experience. But he's a great help, and he's out of upstate New York, and the kid's willing to learn. And my door is open to him. He stays at my house. I mean, you want to come up? You want to hang out for a weekend? You're more than welcome to. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a lip runner on the internet or if you're whoever. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Don Santel, Chad Markley, Bobby Whitaker. You're more than welcome to come here. I love it when I get together with them guys because we knock things off each other and we get better. Because my ideas might not be as good as his idea. So you start bouncing. I mean, I really enjoyed when I was on the team with Jason Brodzinski and Ryan Songaluski. Them two guys, holy Hannah. You want to talk about some brains that go way out of the box? They're the two. I mean, if they were running as much as they should be running, there'd be so much bitching and complaining and crying. It'd be unreal. It would be just, I mean, every time they go to run somewhere like a Blizzard Bash, they blow the internet up. I mean, they break the internet with their cars, but them guys are not lazy. They put hundreds of hours in them cars. You look at Gage Sumner's, there's another one. You know what I mean? It's just, them guys are on top of their game. They're smart.
I wish there was a world in which all of those guys would collectively come and run against each other. Because
I'm all for it. I'd do it any given day. I'd love to start because it was a thing throughout the years. Like every driver that's competitive is chasing something, and I'm chasing them guys. I want that opportunity to be on that track with them. I would love to be a one-on-one. I'd love to have somewhere where I could call people out. I'd love to call, one-on-one, Trace Braun, Toby Hiley, them guys, they are the best. Why the hell wouldn't I want to call them out? I would love to run against them one-on-one. I want to see where I'm at. That's the thing. I'm 48 years old. I ain't got many more years left, but man, and they're at the top of their game too. Toby, he's got kids and he's doing the father thing, and I can't blame him. I give him kudos for that. So he's back. I did hear his son's going to be at the expo, I think, in a car, which is awesome. That's third generation, maybe fourth, because I don't know before his dad, but that's awesome stuff. That's cool stuff. But to me, I want to run against them guys. I want to run against the best. We need to get a platform set up And these guys need to come because they need to challenge themselves. We're all going to lose. Don't be afraid of losing. That's the thing. You cannot be afraid of losing.
I agree, man. I want to see it as much as anyone. I mean, I think we're doing our sport a disservice not to provide it, if that makes sense. Like I think like boxing has went through this. I don't know if there's a lot of boxing fans out there, but there used to be growing up that the heavyweights, the Mike Tysons, the Holyfields, everyone that was anyone would fight each other. And then boxing went through this time for 10 years, really, that the baddest dudes would not fight each other. They actually started making more belts. So the baddest dudes could carry belts but not fight each other.
Right.
That's crazy. We can't do that. We have to see who the baddest of the bad is.
I remember the bronze at the Bash, and you had the Ciopas coming after him. It was epic to watch drivers of that caliber just teeing off on each. The people were on their feet. It was the entertainment that nobody sees. So why can't we, as a sport, why can't we do that? Why can't we pull the best guys in the country? And there's a lot of us. I mean, you look at Blizzard Bash, you look at Gold Rush, you look at the teams, look at the number of high-end quality drivers and builders out there. I mean, you can pack tons of places with somehow or another figuring out how to get, well, the only way to do this, because no promoter's got that kind of money, and the drivers don't want to use their money because they're the one putting the entertainment on. We have to do, like you said, we got to organize. We got to get rid of all the complaining, all the whining. We have to get somewhat unified. And after that, maybe we can get some big name sponsors rolling in, and then we can make them things happen, because guess what? They pay the drivers. You watch NASCAR, all the big drivers are on the track at the same time. You go to Bash, there's a couple. You go to King, there's a couple. You go to Gold Rush, there was a couple. You go to, there's just a couple everywhere. There's never all of them. And when that happens, you bring guys out of Utah, you bring guys from all over, from all the states that are their best, and you put them in the same arena, boys, there's NASCAR, boys. There it is.
Well, then we got to capture it, though. You know what I'm saying? The moments can't happen without capturing it, without build up, without the interviews, right? That people don't want to. You have to do the interviews. We have to get the Pete Hanson reaction when he just got beat, and the Pete Hanson reaction when he just did the beating. You know what I'm saying? We need both of those things. And
I don't think it's just direct. I mean, I don't think we should just use, everybody's got fans. I might not know that guy, or you might not know that guy, but there's somebody out there that knows that guy. Maybe little Johnny, his dad derbies. Well, let's ask little Johnny's dad what he wants. Does he want to unify? Does he want to move on up? So I hear a lot of both sides. I don't think it's a good thing. I do think it's a good thing. But maybe it's just an elite group of us go that way, and the rest of the Derby world stay the way it is, and everything stays the way it is. And it just, you got that in all motorsports. We got dirt bike tracks around this area, and then you can watch the pros on TV. So I think our sport is probably going to end up being the same way, because there's only a certain group of guys that can go to that next level, and there's a group of guys that's got to stay behind. But they're not staying behind. Their life ain't changing. They're going there to have fun. They're going to smash cars. Their life don't change. Our life is going to change, because we're going to have to spend a lot more money to move on up, to hopefully get recognized, and then it'll become a lot easier for us, and then we'll have sponsors, and things will become, where they need to be. But at that time, I mean, you see it in every sport. I don't care what level. Guys are fighting. Guys are pissed off at each other. And that's what sells. Growing
What
up
you're
as a
talking
kid,
about, well, Pete, what you're talking about is paying it forward. You got a group of drivers that are going to come together and
right?
finally take a stand and say, we're going to pay it forward for a year, a two, whatever it is, to get those big sponsors involved, to get this thing organized the way it needs to be. Because you talk about those people being like sort of being they're not being left behind. What they're doing, what's going to happen is they're going to have they're going to have opportunities because of you guys. Because you
Right.
guys
We're
are,
gonna Yeah,
yes.
you're right, Dustin, because we're creating that next level, and it's done in every sport aspect, from your kid starting at T-ball, working all the way up through college and all the way up into the major leagues. You know what I mean? So that's going to be an avenue that if look at like Freebie, Scotty, he's that kid that's coming on the deck. He's just coming out of the young ranks. He's moving into the college division now. And when he graduates college, I believe he's the kid that's going to step to our level. You know what I mean? Because he's not afraid to really, really dig in and put the time and the work in. And there's other kids. This Cam Penwell's another one. You look at these young kids that are coming up. It's exciting to see these kids
And
to the level.
we need to take those guys and just freaking squeeze them and say, this is the way we're going. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we're going this way and we cannot wait for you to get there. And, this is the path that we go. We're creating a path for these guys. And it takes obviously on this side, it takes the promoter, but it takes you guys to take these guys under your wing and start this thing that, listen, everyone could say it could have been started 20 years ago. It isn't. Okay. We haven't created the next level yet. So it's on us in this current moment to create this next level.
Well, what I think, honestly, I think a group of us drivers that are willing to pat together to work for it is the only way it's ever going to get done. And so I call, Bobby Whitaker. Bobby, you in? Yeah, Pete, let's do this. Bobby calls Don, and then I call like Trace, and Trace calls Trent, and and Steve Siopa, and you just start naming these guys that maybe it's Joey Braun that's able to move on up. Maybe the old Trent's maybe getting to the point where his body won't take it or something, but whatever. But that's what we need. And I think if we pat together Chad Markley, Chicken, all them guys, the Clemens, I mean, there's a ton of them. Ryan Songalewski, all them guys. We pat together and we work for something better. And the platform, we're going to have somebody behind us that's going to, sell us. Basically, you got to sell us. And when you sell us, we're going to give you a show, because we're going to get paid to go. We're not paying entry fees. No, we are paid entertainment, just like any other thing you watch on TV. So I think we can do it, but we got to get a group of guys and we got to get it organized and we got to get it, and there ain't nothing saying I can't go derby at my local hometown fair. I can still derby anywhere I want, but I think the best thing to do is to move the sport forward, is we're going to have to pick somebody to lead us. And we got to put together an organization between a group of elite drivers, or not even elites, drivers that are willing to go to that level, and let's run with it. I think we can do it.
I agree with you 100%. And that may be the way to do it, because the talking to promoter route is like beating your head against the wall.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
mean,
You know, I listened to Gumby on Scotty's, you know, and they've done this and done that and done this and done that and tried this and tried that. And, you know, they've been successful in some of the stuff, you know, but they just they're not getting anywhere because I don't think they have the driver's support, basically, as in the commitment that, guys, this is what we're doing. We're not screwing around, we're not goofing around, this is what we're doing. We're
well,
going to
yeah,
dedicate our time for the next 2 years. And yeah, we
let's
might
face
have
it.
to eat crow a couple times and it might cost us quite a bit of money. And we might have to follow behind a monster truck show or get sucked into somewhere, but we all got to put our money in the pot.
Well, let's face it. I think we're struggling right now to be professionals.
Right.
We don't know how to be professionals. And that's the thing. Professionals make decisions based on the sport, what's best for the sport and the interest of the sport. And
right.
we simply day in and day out in this sport do not make decisions based on that. It just
no.
We're not able to take that professional leap. You know, we're not able to have the foresight to do that. And we're going to someday. There's no doubt. We've talked 100 times about this. There's going to be at some point it's going to click and it's going to happen. But that's what we're struggling to do. We're not able to look at this as a profession yet. And that's the difference.
It's never been, so it's not an option.
Say what?
It's never been a profession, so it's not an option.
Yeah, and we struggle to see that vision, right? We struggle to see the vision because it's never existed. So therefore, we think it can never exist. It's like the mental block that we have that I can't. Well, they say that I can't see the forest between the trees. There's a forest out there. Just got to look there that way.
Right. We're some of the best entertainment that's out there. You can sit there and watch football. Yeah, okay, blah, blah. Baseball's boring as shit. Basketball, I can't even stand to watch. Some people love it. You look at golf, I think we bring a lot more to the table for entertainment and excitement.
Well, we have no idea our value level, though. That's the thing. We don't value our own entertainment. We're the only people in the entire country that could fill a grandstands, okay, at a county fair. Let's say it's 5,000 people, and say we're willing to perform for 20 years for $1,000.
Right.
And then look to the right.
And the drivers pay for it.
Yeah. And then look to the right of us or the next night and say, man, that country singer, man, he's just rich. It's like he did the same thing that you did. Same thing. He filled the grandstands and people paid for it. People will pay for your stuff too. Gumby said it last night on Scotty's podcast.
Yeah.
He said the sole reason why they got together is because they were tired of the county fairs making $70,000, $80,000 20 years ago.
Right.
And paying $1,000. Pete, I've been saying this for 3 years, and people will burn me at the stake because I want them to make more money.
Well, you know what's funny? Utah, they're the only state so far that I know of that a group of intelligent guys got together and said, you know what? This is what we're going to do. If these guys want demolition derbies at their fairgrounds, because they had a chance, because there was very few promoters, there was very few of anything, they coerced them fairgrounds to pay them big money to give back to the drivers. So here we go, and I've heard it so many times because I'm friends with a lot of the promoters, bitching about, well, we went to the fair convention or whatever, and so-and-so cut it down another $1,500 so we can get that show. All that guy's doing is fucking the drivers. Excuse my French again, but all he's doing, he is no good for our sport. If the promoters would get together and stick together and set a price tag, hello, the drivers make more money, the promoter makes more money, and life is good. But no, you got too many people.
We won't do it. For 3 straight years in the Ohio, people ask why I don't have county fairs in Ohio.
Right.
I bid no less than 10 county fairs a year
Right.
because they come ask me to bid it. And you know what? They take my bid and they go straight to Derby Dog and they say, Dustin will do it for $9,000, including the purse, or I don't know, whatever. Depends on the
Why
fair,
does
right?
he do that?
And then he says, and then Derby Dog comes in, and you can ask Tim. Tim has got pissed at him for this because Tim actually bids fairs to make money because it's his job. So
Right.
Tim actually doesn't bid fairs bad. I know his bids. Now they should be better, but they can't be better because somebody's always there to undercut them. Always.
I
And
keep saying, right.
it's never ending. Why are we doing this to each other? And it's all because Jeremy wants to come over there and say, oh, I got 32 county fairs. Okay, so you worked 32 nights of this year and you made how much money? Oh, $2,000. Congratulations, man. You can't pay a head tech. You can't pay an announcer. You can't, like, it's like, what are we doing here?
If Jeremy would get on board with you and Tim and the other 10 promoters and just all sit down in a room and say, this is what we're going to propose to the county fairs, and we're all going to be the same.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Tim, you want 15 county fairs? You take them and you're doing them for no less than $15,000.
right.
Oh, Jeremy, you take your 10. Dustin, you take your 10. Now, this is what we've been saying for so long. The piece of the pie is so much bigger than what you have now.
Right.
If you would just open your eyes and create a healthy sport. Why are we battling each other? Why do we continue to just battle each other? For what? For what?
And who
reason?
wins? Who won at all this? The county fair?
The county fair. That's it. The county fair is the only person that wins.
I've been on a board. We pay as Derby drivers at the local county fair, we pay for 90% of all the other entertainment. The country singers, the monster trucks that cost $25,000 or $30,000 a night, right? So Picture that. The fair board is going to put $25,000 to $30,000 up for a hour and a half or 2 hour monster truck show, but they won't give $5,000 or $8,000 or $7,000 out for the demo drivers.
No.
And the most people in the stands is the Derby guys. You know, the only people that's screwing up is the promoters.
Pete, they'll tell you, if you listen to them, they will actually tell you this. It's like, I can't believe you just said that. They'll say, we actually don't make any money on our Derby. We use that money to pay for everything we lose money on. Now, wait, what? What was that again? What did you just say? You don't make any money on your Derby, but because you use all that money. How about we stop funding the entire thing of the fairs and you just make better decisions on your entertainment? You know?
Well, there's where here you go again, and promoters need to listen what I'm saying. If you guys had some kind of organization that set it up where not the Tom, Dick, or Harry could put on the Derby.
Or if the Tom, Dick, or Harry did put on the Derby, we need you guys to not show up.
No. There's got to be a way, Dustin. There has to be a way with this day and age, with the legal beagle bullshit, that a promoter with credibility, say Tim, you, whatever, so many years, whatever, you guys get dug in, and there's got to be some kind of guidelines and some kind of laws and some kind of something that, especially on the safety factor for insurance reasons, whatever, there's got to be something out there that you guys can put your foot on it and say, listen, you can't have a Derby without one of us. There's no way. It's illegal. There's no possible way. You have to have one of us.
That would require us to talk. The reason why we're having these conversations publicly is because nobody will actually talk behind closed doors. They won't. They refuse. Anyone tells you any different, they're liars. That's it. They're liars.
Right. I get it.
To every single one of these guys, they will not talk.
I mean, look at the stuff that's happening. You know, you see Blizzard Bash has been Blizzard Bash for Blizzard Bash. But then you got Sam bumping in 2 weeks. You know, like, what are you doing? There's so many months out of a year. Why would you do that?
It's just it's the infighting of the county fair stuff we talked about going over to now bigger money. Now there's more risk on the line, you know, and Doesn't make any sense.
Chad says it's good. Chad, I listened to Chad there the other night, and he says it's good. It's going to be good for the drivers because you got two big winging promoters that are going to battle for the drivers now. So they're going to swing more money. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They're going to do that. Yeah, I get it. It's great. But at the end of the day, it's just like Walmart coming into your town. It takes all your mom and pops out. And when it takes them all out, and if they're the last guy standing, as a derby guy, what's going to happen? Your payouts are going to decrease over half after the other guy says, screw it, I ain't doing it no more.
So the Walmart thing, so you get the Walmart thing.
I don't go to, I ain't been to a Walmart in 8 years.
Walmart comes into towns and they get recognition for being the lowest prices because they can lose money at things for years to kill everybody else. And then as soon as they get the chance, boom, prices are through the roof.
Yes.
That's exactly what you were.
Home Depots. I don't go to them places. I don't go to box stores, not unless I really, truly have to. I support all my local small businesses.
So how can we sit here? I'm pretty sure we're all pretty much on the same spectrum politically wise here. How can we sit here and complain about that and then do the same shit in the derby world? We do the same thing that we complain about like that.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, stop being a hypocrite. Work together.
At the end of the day, I mean, we're a bunch of drivers that just like to smash cars, but we would like to get more. We would, because what we're paying for just a simple car today is 50 times what we did pay for them 20 years ago, and like I said, I rolled into your show 2 years ago with 50,000+ in a car. It's insane. I could have won the show and wouldn't even got half my money back. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I'm putting forth. I'm putting that much out there for a promoter to take me somewhere. Let's go somewhere together. But no promoter wants to really push us to that next level. They're just, we're going to stay right here, guys. We're going to put this show on. We're going to, why don't we have 40,000 spectators? Because I don't believe the promoter's doing his job. He's not going, okay, depending on where the fair is located. Simple. How many business and industries, like say factories, how many factories are in that area within an hour away from that derby? Well, get in your car, drive there, walk in, talk to the whoever and say, hey, bud, is there any chance I can throw a flyer up in your lunchroom on the pegboard? We're going to have a show here. And, 3/4 of them people in that factory's probably never heard of a demolition derby, or maybe they have, and they never been to one or whatever. You got to do a little bit of footwork, a little bit of legwork, and get these people that's don't know much about it, and just get them there. When they get there, demolition derby, to the people that's been there, we have a town, we got a fair up here, Walton Fair. I go there. I used to go there just about every year, and it's chaos. They hit so damn hard, it's crazy. It's like Utah, but harder. And they have two sides of the grandstands on both sides, kind of like Dead Man Fayette, but they're covered on both sides. The place is 3/4 full of people from New York City. And New York City's 2.5 hours away, but they got a lot of homes up in this area. And when they put their tickets out on the internet, like you buy them months in advance, they sell out. They completely sell out because somebody must have did some homework and touched these people in these cities and got them. They sell out at, 3 weeks before the show, you see people online. Anybody got any tickets? Anybody got any tickets? Because you can't go there and buy tickets that day. It's that simple. If the promoter would go out in their area, wherever they're putting their big shows on, and I don't think a piece of paper with some writing on it really costs that much, and it's just your time. And if you got business around, don't just throw it in Advance Auto Parts window, because 90% of the people that's going in Advance are your derby drivers, and they know derby. You need to go to the places, like I said, the factories where 300, 500, 5,000 people work there. And so what if you got to throw a couple $100 to the bone to the GC or whoever's there in charge, to put this flyer in the lunchroom on the pegboard? I think it'd make a difference.
Well, and what you're saying is awesome. I mean, it's the truth, really, right? It's 100% the truth. What is the problem with Demolition Derby? Now, when we get those people there, we've got to make sure that we're providing entertainment that they want to see it over and over again, right? So I go back to the format. This is why this exists. When we get those people there, if you gave me 5,000 people from Lima, Ohio this year, and we had a 3-hour feature, they would never come back, Pete.
No.
I can't sell that. But what I can sell is I can sell you guys becoming gladiators and getting it on. And we've averaged less than 15 minutes of heat for the largest payouts in the entire country. That's something that I can sell, So when we get that opportunity, we need it. And you guys are delivering, But for too long, we have just said, all right, well, I'm going to do it my way and I'm going to drive my race. And if it takes 3 hours, then it is what it is. We have to find that happy medium that we can't do that because we got to sell. Because if 20,000 people come to King this year, guess what happens to the payout? The largest payout in the entire country.
Right.
It's going up, right? We may pay all of you guys the show next year if 20,000 people come. So help us sell the show. We're in this together,
Yeah.
It's not an $800 entry fee. It's, hey, Pete, here's $2,000. You coming back to the show? Like,
it's a tough. To be honest with you, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. We spend $1,000, $1,200 on a set of tires for somebody to make us. When you see an $800 entry fee, a lot of drivers like bullshit on that. I ain't doing that. No way. And I understand their thinking. But if you're a hunter or you're a fisherman or whatever, you go to the gun store and you see this gun. God, it's $2,500. You don't bat an eye. You just buy the damn thing because you want it. But what I like about your show, Dustin, because I am traveling into them waters of Ohio. When I get in the heat rounds, I only got to worry about 2 guys. I got to worry about 8, 7, 6, 5. I only got to worry about 2 guys. And if you're a driver, like a Don Santel or Bobby Whitaker, they would excel so well at this show. The feature, it's going to be tough. I ain't going to lie to the guys. You know what I mean? But sure. Who knows? But if you get this show off the ground like it should have been a long time ago, and I don't know why, I'm confused. But anyways, I mean, some people don't like you. I get it. Some people don't like me, whatever. They all have their says and whatever. At the end of the day, I can see through you a little bit, and I know what you're about, and I understand you. A lot of people might not. They think you're a cocky little dickhead and, whatever, whoever. And I've told you that. I said, Dustin, sometimes you come off a little wrong to people, and that's what kind of screws you, I think. And you come off, you told me, well, listen, I don't even have to have my face on this. He says, I'd rather have somebody else doing it for me, but nobody else will do it. So I'm stuck doing it. So I get it.
Ask all the people that I asked to be the face of Triple D before I even started it.
Oh, I know.
I never had to be it. Nobody would do it. Nobody would do it.
Nobody wanted to.
The reason why, Pete, is I wanted to be you. I don't even want to be this. I just want to be you. Let's switch roles tomorrow, and I will chase the 50,000, and I'll have no problem with it.
I don't want to put up with the bullshit you put up with. Absolutely not.
But somebody's got to, because we need you to have a stage. We need you to have a stage, so it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't want to fucking do this. This is not fun. This is not fun at all. It is not fun to A, risk this type of money, but B, catch the hatred that you catch, because to be in this position, you have to have the foresight of being ahead 2 or 3 years, always. Because you guys are pushing it like that, right? So you have to be always 2, 3. It's very tough to be in this situation. I'll trade it tomorrow.
Oh,
You know,
I bet you would, because I wouldn't want to do it.
I got enough cars here. Let's rock and roll. We'll be good. You know, but
It's
nobody's
funny.
doing it. So
I see Tim and Tim Jr. jumping in cars periodically, and they're having fun. You know what I mean? And they enjoy it, and they're they're in it now as a full-time job, and God bless them. I mean, the bullshit they got to put up with, and the shit they take, and all promoters. I mean, I'm guilty of giving everybody shit. Me and promoters. I mean, let's put boxing gloves on, boys. It's never the promoter. It's never the promoter, but I blame the promoter because he's in charge of his company. It's always the guys he hires that I have issues with, and I think the reason why I have a lot of issues with is because they just are not at that level. Like we always said, as a driver, stay in your lane. Well, why don't techs do the same thing? Stay in your lane. If you ain't built to this caliber in the last 2 years, you better not be there. You better be in the lane that you've built to. And if you haven't run in the last 2 years somewhere, someplace, you shouldn't even be in the line. That's the way I look at it. I'm a firm believer.
On this side, though, what I say, because this is an interesting take, what I say is I throw it back to you guys and say, I want you guys to be here. But a lot of you won't come. A lot of you won't come on this side of it. And I get that. Part of the reason that hurts us is there's no retirement age here, Pete. There's no retirement like there is like, the NFL, you got 32-year-old guys that are done, had their 10-year career. They're done. They're 32. In the Derby world, you're not like you're 48. You might not retire for 10 more years. When do I get that Pete Hanson to come on my side to make my side that much better? It's difficult. So,
well, it is, and I've Tim's asked me. I've worked for Tim 1 year, and he treated me very good. I can't say it, but I wasn't the person I am today. For credibility, I mean, I built all levels from the high end to the low end to this to that. And I built all cars. If people look at my resume, I've been in Cadillacs, I've been in Rivieras, I've been in Crown Vics, I've been in wagons, I've been in just about every car that guys are bringing into the shows. I built Imperials for years, push framers, full framers. I mean, I can tell you, 90% of the cars that are out there, I can look at them and I can tell you where the dates are stamped in them. And I know this mark's supposed to be here and I know that's supposed to be there. I got a photographic memory when it comes to Derby cars, but when it comes to normal life, I can't even remember the guy's name that talked to me 10 minutes ago. But that's because it's a passion of mine. If you want me to come tech for you, I have no problem.
When you hang it up, you've got your career left. But when you're hanging up, we need people like you to come do commentary. We need people like you to come do, the tech side of things. We need people like you to be on the wall because you understand this sport at another level, right? Like that's what. But
I like I said to Tim, if you want me, this is what I cost. It's like, Jesus, I don't know if I can afford that. Well, you go to the store, there's a difference between, Walmart ketchup and Heinz ketchup. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, you pay more for the shit that's good and you pay less for the shit that ain't good. That's all there is to it. This is why
I love you, Pete, because that is the truth. I mean, you pay for what you get, right?
Yeah.
But we're not making any damn money. So
that's not my fault. I said it. It's your own fault that you don't make money because you go to the fair conventions and you guys are all separated and you're all trying to beat each other out. And you're chopping it down.
I hope that these guys will not sit down and actually say, "Hey, look, I want to take my 20,000 into 80,000." I can't help it that they can't comprehend doing that. Dossie, no. I can't comprehend. He's turning the light off on me.
Oh yeah.
I can't comprehend them doing that. I don't know how to get through to them. Hey guys, if we just stick together, we can keep the money, here. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, that's not the driver's fault. Hey, we all got kids. That's normal. Actually, you look a little better in the dark.
Amen to that. You're probably not the first person that ever said that.
I know I ain't the pretty one, that's for sure.
Oh man. But yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, they don't comprehend it. I don't know. I mean,
you guys could actually make you can make a business out of it.
Shows. I gotta have 32 shows, and I gotta make. I mean, dude, my hometown, Mercer County, my hometown. I know the guys there that put on the hometown. They literally wanted to get into promoting, and I shit you not, Pete. They came in, sold out grandstands, because everyone always wants to do it. I'm just doing it for the sport, man. I'm doing it for the sport.
Yep.
Come in, 4 guys. We'll do it for $1,000 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
What? $1,000? 2 years later, they're out of business. Wonder why? Because you don't want to deal with the bullshit, and you're not making any money. I mean,
well, as soon as the bullshit starts, as soon as the bullshit starts piling up on them,
see you later.
And their tech guys are like, dude, I can't do this shit for nothing anymore. I'm watching Frankie Guy deal with the bullshit now. He gets a tech guy because he ain't making no money. He can't pay the guy what he's really worth, and the guy ain't going to stick around. Everybody deals with it. I've watched all the promoters jockey their techs, because to keep them guys, you're going to have to pay them. Well, you can't freaking pay them if you underbid at the convention.
And you know what kills me is you sit here and listen to these guys, and they say, well, the county fairs are running a business, and they deserve to run a business. Well, damn it, Pete, when is somebody going to say, we're running a business too, okay, and we have a sport that needs to operate like a business too? When is somebody going to stand up and say that for us? Like,
well, nobody said that about the country singer. They paid $150,000 to come sing at the county fair
and broke even. Hope they break even.
They don't. The Derby guys pay for the rest of it.
Yeah, the Derby guys will pay for it. I mean, these guys are writing checks before the Derby even happens.
Yeah.
Because they just know, hey, look, by the way, I equate it to this. I always say this. It's like milking the cow and never feeding the cow. And it's been 25 years overdue. The cow hasn't ate for 25 years, and you milk the shit out of it for 25 years. Can we get a better relationship? Can we just negotiate a better relationship, please? That's all.
Well, I think honestly, if all you promoters went in the room in the round table and threw your junk out onto it, you're going to see you're all the same. I
do not think that we're all the same.
I do. You're all the same. But no, you guys all got your own little twerks and little this and little that. And that's why the promoters, and people will get a laugh out of this, because I say this all the time. So picture this. I can put 100 guys on a bus and I can send them to California, right? Yeah. And they come back. There'd be black eyes. There'd be some broken noses, some bloody knuckles. At the end of the day, they'd all be friends when they got off that bus. So promoters
are more. That is the one thing about men. Yeah, that happens.
So look at it this way. Women, I can put 10 women on a bus and I can send them 40 miles somewhere. And when they get back, they'll never talk to each other and they all hate each other for the rest of their lives. That's what promoters are more like the women. They just don't get along. Because everybody thinks they're out for each other.
Everyone just wants more of the pie. Like, just take a piece. Just take a piece of the pie, man.
There's too many of you.
It's oversaturated for sure, but not everyone deserves to be there. Like, that's the thing. Like, this is where the drivers could help out. Like, find 5 guys that you want to support and only support those guys.
That's what needs to be done.
Yeah, that's it. Just only support those guys, and then you'll take care.
I believe every state should only have like 2 promoters, maybe 3 at the most.
That's it. And there shouldn't be 100 county fairs in Ohio that have demolition derbies. Go to 40.
Frankie, well, there ain't none of them going to give it up because that's their cash cow.
Imagine that. No wonder why they won't give it up. Because would you ever give up anything that you're making buku dollars on?
No,
No.
it's funny, but our state did it to us. We're in the recycling business. We've been buying converters for years. Guess what? I don't buy converters no more because the state put in enough stipulations that we can't. Basically, they told us we can only buy from garages and dealerships. And the only way I can buy from a private individual is they got to have that car coming over my scale, and they can take the converter off, and I got to look under it and make sure the lines all line up, and I got to have the title, and I got to have all this stuff. You can't call me up and say, Dustin calls me up and says, hey, Pete, I'm bringing over 10 converters tonight, and I know they're all off your derby cars. I can't legally buy them. Well, that just took a couple $100,000 out of my yearly gross, and it's like, what a joke.
Yeah, for sure. Pete, it's good stuff, man. Look, I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was an impromptu hour and a half. So
yeah, but just the biggest thing is why we originally got on here is these bumpers. Bumpers belong in certain classes and they don't belong in other ones. Promoters, write your rules in the lower classes for a factory bumper. Can't be tilted, can't be pitched. We got parts vendors selling brackets so you can tip the bumpers on cars. You got this, you got that. My bumper is exactly 32 degrees on the back of my car, if you want to know. 32 degrees. You look at the bumper brackets they're selling. I think they're somewhere around 35. You need to get your degree meters out. You need to start checking things. You need to start understanding things a little bit. And just put it in your rules. Like these national level shows, if Dead Man's going to think that's where he's going to play, if Frankie Guy has 2 shows a year that's a points shows, the higher level in his classes, that's where them bumpers are going to show up. Any of the shows. I mean, I'm seeing, I've seen front pointy bumpers from the bone stocks at Metal Mayhem all the way up to the mods at Blizzard Bash on the front of cars. Should that back bumper be allowed in all the classes? Yes, but you know what? The only way you kind of guide the line on that and is the class levels. Look at your level of builders and drivers, and that's where them bumpers belong. The guys that's got the door plates, the guys that's got the good cages, the guys that know how to weld better, that's where them bumpers are. That it's simple, it's basic, it's simple. I see a promoter out there. Well, Frankie today, he was carrying on about unified rules number 2. Well, how many classes are going to be unified, Frankie? Did you ask yourself that? There's got to be a low level and a high level. Just like, look at Mark Elliott. He changed his whole format. Now he's got high power and low power. There's a reason for that. And there's a reason for everything. So as a promoter, all I'm saying from a driver's standpoint, your classes that are your higher, heavier builds, build a set of rules and leave them for 5 years and see what happens. And try to get as close to your other 10 promoters that are 10 miles away, let's say, because there's too many of you. And maybe you guys can get a little bit of shared cars, shared drivers, and then you're not changing your rules midstream to try to get your same drivers that support you every year because they ran your lighter class and their car's junk, and you got to give them more and you give them more and you give them more. And at the end of the year, that class is no different than your other class besides 1 or 2 little things. I mean, the promoters need to start sharing drivers, and they can share them by getting the rules closer. We don't have to have a unified set, but let's say from Indiana to Pennsylvania, let's have 4 classes that are the same or similar, real close.
That requires communication. If that's what it requires.
That's all.
And we got none of that right now.
And guess what? I think you guys would benefit from it.
Preaching to the choir, Pete.
Now, like your show, I'm coming to run your show. I'm looking at this car. It's sitting here, and where the hell am I going to run this thing?
3 other shows.
And that's a good feeling. But it's like I've had to change my Iron City car up. I couldn't tell you how many times to go to a couple different shows. Nobody's has their shit together where they could say, listen, you come run my show. You can go to Indiana, you can go to Ohio, you can go to Pennsylvania, you can go to Kentucky. You can run this car, 40 derbies this year if you really wanted. And it's a harder build car. So it's likely it could run that many times. And I'd support them promoters. I would travel them places and I'd go derby for them.
Well, I think, look, maybe someday we can pull it off, but it won't be able to be pulled off without your guys' support. So that's why we're having these conversations. Your perspective, my perspective, it's really good, I think. So
yeah, it's basic. Don't be bitching about anything at all in the sport besides
unless you're doing something about it too. Like, don't bitch and do nothing.
Right.
Like,
right.
You gotta do something. Yeah,
it's real simple. The cars are being built today the way they're going to be built. If you want to change them, your driver count's going to drop, and if you think it's going to get better, well, good luck finding them other drivers because they're not there.
No,
they are not there. They don't exist.
Nope.
You see your drivers when you go out to derbies all over the country. That's what you got to pick from. The promoters, this is what you got to pick from. And the only way you're going to get them is kind of take a general look around the world and see what that particular group likes. What's this particular group like? And build your rules around it and stick with them for 5 years. Because I believe a heavier build class is it really due. Because just like everybody says, we do this big circle. Everybody had their protector cars and kicker cars, and then we went all the way back. Now everybody's breaking transmissions and doing all this. Now we're adding trans braces, and we're coming right back to the top. We're going to be right back to where we started, and it does that. It just revolves around and around and around. There's no and the same guys win. No matter what you do. I went away from protectors this year, and I'd had a great year. I had a better year than I ever had because the cars weren't as hard.
Well, Pete, you're talking to someone that has ran the same rule set for 4 years. We literally have not changed it for 4 years. And look, it's progressed every year. Cars accounts got better.
It will.
Got better.
It will. It will. And like we had spoke, I believe what hurt you more than anything is you. And I don't think you did anything wrong. It's just the way people think you come off. You know what I mean? And
you got to be real. If I'm fake, you will see right through it. I'm just real. Like, I just got a message from a guy that said, you know what, like your arrogance and this and that on the King show. Look, I'm tired of hearing the excuses on why you won't come to our show. Okay. It's always about like, oh, I don't have the money. I don't have this. It's Pete. It's the same guys that will build a car, show up to a county fair. There's 6 cars and they have 5 buddies. And the car's harder than the cars at King. I'm tired of hearing it. So look, if that rubs people the wrong way because they had to hear the truth, then so be it. And if that takes us a couple more years to get the show off the ground, then so be it. But we're here for the right reasons, and we're not being fake about nothing, and I'm not sugarcoating nothing. We want the best drivers in the country, and we're going to pay the best money in the country to get it.
I don't know why. I don't know why they ain't all coming.
Well, if that's not enough, don't come play on the playground. That's it.
Maybe they're just not secure with themselves. That's all. They don't think they can do it without their buddies holding their hand.
That's another dilemma. Like when you bring that up, people get real butthurt about it, but it's the truth. If you can't come here because you can't run with your buddies, are you really that good?
Well, I think I am. That's why I'm coming.
Exactly. So we're going to appeal to you guys. And look, if we rub some people the wrong way along the way, oh well.
Well, remember, you can't insult anybody this day and age, and you can identify whatever you want.
Exactly. Well, exactly. What a crazy time we're living in. What a crazy time. So
I just remember the days when I got started in this, the rivalries between groups. It was awesome. And we got in some fist fights in the pits.
Whatever happened to that?
Now you guys wouldn't like that part of it. Us knuckle sandwiching each other in the pits and choking guys out and stuff, but you know, that's what it was. But it tell you what, when it got on the track, it was action because we were getting it.
It was entertaining. Let's sell it. Let's have that. Let's have the animosity, the rivalries, the shit talking, the anticipation. Where did it go?
Well, everybody's afraid to say anything about anybody.
Well, you see why. I mean, you just told me, hey, look, I think you're a little bit harsh, and that's why people. It's like, oh my gosh, here we go. Well, here's a pillow for you, okay? And my gosh, I mean,
You can't be such a dick, Dustin.
I know, but it gets annoying to hear the same shit, Pete.
Oh, I know.
To hear
but
the
I've kept my tongue for a lot of years about a lot of things. I shouldn't, but I do. Maybe I'll change my ways. Maybe 2024, when shit's going wrong at a derby and I don't think it's right, I'll bring it to the public's attention, and we'll see how that goes for a couple of years. Look, who wants me to sign up for their show in 2024? Shoot me a message.
Look, if something's not right at our show, I expect you to come tell me. We're not trying to do this wrong. So if it's not right, we need to make it right. And also needs to be acknowledgement that we're not going to be perfect. It's just we're going to be the best that we can, but we can't miss something major. There's no way. You can't have a major blunder,
No.
So yeah, I mean, it's good stuff, Pete. Thanks for getting on here tonight.
Yeah, it took me a little almost 2 hours away from this build, but that's all right.
We're not
it's right here. Everybody want to see it? Whoa, that was fast.
Whoa.
How many people's going to stop, pause, and check that out, huh?
Yep, I'm sure. Now
we might not have enough viewers to see it, so that's good.
They'll watch it eventually.
All right, brother. You have a great night. Enjoy. Everybody, thanks for listening to our bullshit, but it's real.
Yeah, thanks for letting us be real. Yep, exactly. 100%.
That's it.
See ya.
Have a good night.